box with socks. We put socks in socks, and that was our boxing gloves because my parents weren't going out and buy us any $50 boxing gloves. So that's all we had. So we were out boxing one day, and man, I hit him hard and knocked him down, and you could just see evil in his eyes. He was so mad at me. And I said, Eric, don't you dare get up, son. I said, do not get up. He gets up, he said, I'm going to kill you. And I hit him right square in the jaw. I mean, I knocked him out for like 10 seconds. I thought I'd killed the poor boy. And needless to say, he did not come the second time. And then lastly, a prophet confronts King Ahab. A prophet confronts King Ahab. All right, let's go through the text and we'll get through as many of these questions as we can. Question number 1, why did the prophet tell the king of Israel to strengthen himself? Yes, there's going to be war again. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, Go, strengthen thyself, and mark, and see what thou doest. For at the return of the year, the king of Syria will come up against thee. Did you notice a unique word in that text when you read it? No, we didn't read that. We just answered the question. Okay. Notice what he says again. He says, Go, strengthen thyself, and mark. What's that mean? Right? What does that mean? See, sometimes we just skip over stuff. We don't have a clue what it means. We just skip over it. Mark. The definition of mark: to know, to ascertain by seeing, to come to a recognition. Okay, go strengthen thyself and see. Look, watch, pay attention to what? To what you're doing. In other words, you need to really pay attention to your army. You need to really strengthen your army. You need to make certain that all your supplies, everything you need are here, because something is about to happen, isn't it? Something bad's about to happen. For at the return of the year, the king of Syria will come up against thee. So you better mark. You better recognize it and pay attention to it. What explanation was given to the king of Syria as to why they were defeated in battle? The gods of Israel were the gods of the hills, but they were not the gods of the what? Of the plain. Have you ever heard of, what do you call that? What do you call this? Superstition? This is the biggest superstition that you could ever believe in, folks, okay? The king calls in his advisors and things. Why did we get beat? Y'all told us we was going to win the battle, and why did we get beat? Well, we gone back and we counseled the gods. And the gods have told us that Israel's gods are the gods of the hills. And we were fighting in the mountains. And if we'll just go back, and if we'll just fight on the plain, their gods aren't the gods of the plain. Our gods are, and we'll win the battle. And the king goes, oh, I get it. Okay. Who thinks like that? You know? Who thinks like that? Now, there's a couple of thoughts that I put down here, and it says this: the battles that were waged at the time in history were always battles that included the gods of the opposing nations. Okay? Wasn't that true of David and Goliath? It was battle of the gods. And when Israel went against another nation, an enemy nation, even the enemy nation thought what? This is a battle of who? A battle of the gods. We don't think like that anymore, do we? Okay? But yet that's exactly the way they thought back then. And then that second comment, the superstitious nature of the heathen nations is displayed in their conversations. Where did the king's servants advise the king to fight the next battle? In the plains. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we be stronger than they. Is it more than superstition that the Syrians have for this thought process that's going on? Okay, what were you going to say? What kind of an army? Folks, remember we talked about last week, this is a nation that has unbelievable amounts of horses and chariots. Let me ask you something. Is it hard to maneuver horses and chariots in the mountains? Yeah, you can't hardly do that. Okay, very difficult to do that. But you get out on the plains And you can stretch those chariots out a long way, and you can do unbelievable fighting. That's what Syria was used to. And so that's the way they say in this. We fought in the mountains, we got defeated, but if we'll just get out there in the plains the way we're used to fighting with this huge army, there's absolutely no way what? That we're going to lose the battle. Okay? Notice what they said. And surely we will be what? Stronger than they. You see, if we'll fight in the plain and do it the way we normally do it, we'll win the battle. And so there's a little bit of strategy here as well. True or false? The servants advised the king of Syria to remove the kings and put captains in their rooms. True. Wow. Not all. Well, let me go back and ask another question before I say that statement. Who are these kings? We talked about them last week. Does anybody remember? What's that now? Okay, yes. Big nations divide themselves into sections. We have 50 states, do we not? And each one of our states has a what over it? A governor that's over it. And that's the way it was in Syria. They divided it into regions, and he took the governors, these political kings, and he made them fight the battle. But guess what? They're not what? They're not fighting men. Okay? Oh yes, they're political men, aren't they? And they have positions and power, but they don't know anything really about what? About battle and about fighting. So guess what he says? Get rid of the kings and put... Oh, that sounds smart, doesn't it? If we'll just put captains in there, people who know how to fight, well, you should have done that the first time, right? You should have done that the first time. But that's kind of the reasoning that they have for this. And number thee a blank, like the army thou hast lost. Blank for blank. Blank for blank. With the exact fighting force as they had previously, a victory on this occasion would confirm the wisdom of the king's servants, right? It wasn't a matter that we didn't have the power to go against these individuals. We just fought what? We fought at the wrong place. And if we'll just go to the right place with the same army, guess what? We'll be victorious. I promise, King. You know?
You recollect what he said, that God said when he first planned the initial attack? May the gods destroy us to where you can't see the dust if we don't do that too.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to make bold proclamations, isn't it? Yeah. You know? Oh, yeah. And like we said, I think we said this last week, thank God there isn't a God. Yeah. You know, because if the God had really heard that, and if there had really been a God to do that, this battle wouldn't even be happening, at least not to this king. So very, very interesting, but that's exactly right. Let's see. True or false? The king of Syria refused to give heed to his servants. False. And he hearkened unto their voice and did so. Folks, the very reason a king has advisors is to do what? Is to advise him. And if their advice seems good, if it seems wise, if it seems profitable, guess what? The king does what the advisors tell him to do. So it's not something that's, it wasn't like he goes, oh, yeah, you guys lost the battle last time. No, they gave him some reasons, didn't they? They've got their gods are the gods of the hills. If we'll just get in the plain, if we'll have the same fighting force in the plain, we'll win. Man, now he's got some hope, doesn't he? So he hearkens unto their voice. When and where did Ben-Hadad fight against Israel the second time? When? At the return of the year. Where? Aphek. Okay. I hope you got out a map or something, folks. When you see these thing that I always do when I see a word, a city or a town I don't know, I just go to Google Image. I just type in there Aphek in the Bible, and guess what it does? It gives me a map, and I can see where Aphek is. And I can see it in relationship to the other towns and cities and places that are in the nation. So this one is northwest corner of Israel, okay, very high up in the corner of Israel. Out of the mountainous region, there's a mountainous region that runs down the center of Israel there, and so they're kind of where do they want to be? They want to be in the plains, don't they? They don't want to be in the mountainous region. True or false? The children of Israel refused to fight against Syria. False. And the children of Israel were numbered and were all present and went against them. How many men did they have last time? Anybody remember? 7,232. Now we're talking against an army probably of somewhere around 30 or 40,000. Okay? And Syria has beefed up their troops, right? They're back to the same number as they had before. Same horses, same chariots, everything. And folks, guess what? Israel has not miraculously created an army. They still have a little army. But guess what? If you've won one battle against the enemy, I can do what? I can win again. I can win again. Now listen to this next statement. What did the armies of Israel look like when compared to the armies of Syria? Ah, boy. And the children of Israel pitched before them like two little flocks of kids. Now that's not kids. Children kids. That's what? Two little flocks of baby goats, little sheep, right? But the Syrians filled the country. Man. Now we get a little picture of what this looks like, right? This is not pretty, is it? And two little flocks of kids about to go up against the Syrians. Unbelievable. Conlitch says this. They had probably encamped upon the slopes of the mountains by the plains of Jezreel. And when where they looked like two miserable flocks of goats in contrast with the Syrians who filled the land. You know, you can just see that little group up there. There they are. Look at them. You know, camped out up there thinking they're going to win this battle. What promise did the man of God make to the king of Israel? Ooh. And there came a man of God. Now, have we read about 2 or 3 men of God in this chapter? Yeah. And they're not what? They're not named. Now, there was one main prophet right now. Who was he? Elijah. He teamed up with Elisha. And sometimes I ask myself, where were these dudes? Okay. Most likely, Elijah was out training Elisha to be a prophet. Okay. But God had numerous prophets, and He would just send these individuals. And there came a man of God and spake unto the king of Israel and said, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is the God of the hills, but He is not the God of the valley. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude in thine hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Man. I wrote down 3 lessons. Number 1, God knew the thinking and the planning of the Syrians. Didn't He? He knew exactly what they were thinking. He knew exactly what the advisors had told who? Had told the king. They've gone and told this king that I am the God only of the hills and I am not the God of the plain. You think God's chapped? I'd be ticked. He's the God of what? He's the God of the universe. I'll show these scoundrels. Number 2, God is not just a God of the hills. He is the God of the what? He is the God of the plains as well, is He not? Number 3, when God fights for us, the size of our army means nothing. 2 little flocks of sheep, goats, or whatever, right? 2 little flocks. And God says, you're about to whoop these guys. And these people filled the land, folks. Filled the land. I bet if we had been there on that occasion, we'd have been shaking in our boots to see the army that was out there in front of us. You know it? And yet God says, don't worry about it. You're going to win this battle. How long did the 2 armies pitch over against one another? Isn't that weird? What does that mean? They pitched over against one another. Well, I don't know if they had meals together, but when 2 armies approach, there's one on one side, there's one on the other side, right? And yet it took 7 days before they engaged in battle. Isn't that weird? You know, you would think that as soon as you get to the battlefield and you see the other guys, you'd immediately what? You just immediately attack. Oh no. Let's sit over here for 7 days and let's just wait on these guys. I'd put this down. Anticipation, intimidation, movement of forces, and the art of a surprise could all be behind a 7-day period, couldn't it? You know, who's going to make the first move? Okay, you think they're watching each other? You think they got spies out to kind of see what's going on? You bet they do. They're watching all this stuff. And, when are they weak? When are they asleep? When are they eating their food? Whatever it is. It's all a game, isn't it? A war game, and it's a serious game, but it's big. How many Syrian footmen did Israel slay? Unbelievable. And it was so in the seventh day the battle was joined. And the children of Israel slew the Syrians. 100,000 footmen. Folks, they only had how many? They only had about 7,000. I tried to do the math. Okay? If Israel still had 7,232 men, each man would have slayed about 14 men. Okay? I don't know about you. If I have fought 14 men to the death, I'm tired. You know? If I fight one man to the death, I'm tired. 14 each. That's a lot of men, isn't it? How?
One aspect to this that was overlooked. It was all done in one day.
Yeah, the 100,000 one day. That's what I mean. 14 men one day. That's wild. Where did the rest of the army flee? Now think about that. 100,000 men have been killed, and they still got enough to run. So I'm trying to get you to understand when the Bible says that the country was filled with these people. Oh, there was a boatload of enemies. Where did they flee? To Aphek, into the city. What happened to 27,000 more men? Wow. And there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. Man, that's a lot of men, isn't it? Aphek had to have been a fairly large city, didn't it? A fairly large city. Unbelievable. I just wrote this down. Here the hand of God was involved in the destruction of the Syrian forces. Both Ahab and Ben-Hadad would come to know that God is the God of Israel. At least they should, shouldn't they? Is this the first time that God has said to Ahab, I'm doing this so that you know that I am God? No. This is about the fourth time He said that, isn't it? He said it when it came to the rain. He said it when it came to the defeat of the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. He said it at the first defeat of the Syrians. He said it now at the second. I'm doing all this so you know that I am the God of Israel. And yet, Ben-Hadad will remain just as wicked as he always has been. Isn't that funny? And yet, we're hard on Ahab, aren't we? And yet, does God ever tell us to do things and we just don't do them either? It doesn't have any impact on our lives, really. You know? You have to be careful about condemning Ahab because sometimes we're kind of like him. To what place did Ben-Hadad flee? Oh, man. And Ben-Hadad fled and came into the city, into the inner chamber. You know, all you boys, y'all stay out there. I'm going to the safe place, right? And that's because I'm who? I'm the king. I'm the one who's needed, right? All you guys, y'all are just, people to fight for me. I'm the one who's needed. I'm the special ones. These strongholds were located in the middle of the city. They were often dug into the earth and well fortified. They could be stocked with goods, food for many, many days. Okay, many, many days. So he flees to a safe space, doesn't he? How did Ben-Hadad's servants describe the kings of the house of Israel? Merciful. And his servants said unto him, wouldn't you like to know how long he stayed down there before all this happens? The Bible doesn't tell us, does it? It just says they fled to this safe space. They could have been there a week, 2 weeks, a month. We're not told how long he was down there. But it was long enough that the servants were getting sick of it. Weren't they? We got to have some relief. So they go tell him, and what do they say? Behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Wow. Merciful. Anybody look up the word merciful? What is it? Compassion. Okay, compassionate. Good word. Anybody else? Goodness, kindness, okay, faithfulness. These guys are not out to what? Just murder and harm people, okay? They're good individuals. They're faithful individuals to their God. They're compassionate individuals. They're kind. They're willing to what? They're willing to forgive their enemies, okay? And so they're banking on a positive trait of a king, aren't they? We've heard that these guys are merciful kings. Now, I could go into a lot more discussion. We better move on. What two things did they advise the king to put on when they approached the king of Israel? I put sackcloth on and ropes on their head. Now, if you look up the more literal translation of ropes on their head, it means ropes around their necks. Okay, ropes around their necks. So, wouldn't that be an impression? Maybe he's got 15 or 20 advisors, right? And then there's the king, and they all walk in to the armies of Israel wanting to see Ahab, and they've got this sackcloth on. That's a sign of what? Penance, mourning, sorrow, okay? And then they have ropes around their necks. Question is, why the ropes? Yes. There's two things that individuals have said. Number one, a sign of absolute surrender. We are now your what? Your slaves, your servants. You can lead us around by a rope. Okay, so we are in subjection to you. Barnes says this: they, as it were, put their lives at Ahab's disposal, who, if he pleased, might hang them all at once. That's pretty bold, isn't it? We know that if you wanted to kill us, you could take these ropes and strap us up and kill us. We're pleading for what? We're pleading for mercy. Very, very interesting. What request did the servants of Ben-Hadad make of King Israel? Look at there. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads, and they came to the king of Israel and said, Thy servant Ben-Hadad saith, I pray thee, let me live. I can almost hear him crying. Can't you? Just let me live. I find it interesting, too, that Ben-Hadad sent who first? He sent his servants first, didn't he? He wasn't crazy. I don't know if he trusted that the kings of Israel were merciful. Especially after 2 battles with these individuals. But he sends his servants, okay? I put this note down in my notes. The day before this, Ben-Hadad was confident that victory would be his because they were fighting Israel on the plain. Now he presents himself to Ahab as a slave. Isn't that funny? How overnight things can change, can't they? And remember what Ahab had told the king? Don't count your chickens before they what? Well, he didn't say that exactly, but that's what he meant, right? He says, don't be so confident until you've gone home and you've got your battle armor off, right? Until the victory is yours, don't think you're victorious. And very, very interesting. And he said, is he yet blank? Is he yet alive? He couldn't hardly believe he was still alive, could he? Now listen to this next one. He is my blank. He is my brother. Oh, he is my brother. Unbelievable. Why would Ahab refer to a man who sought the destruction of his kingdom as his brother? It's the only explanation. Or he had an affinity for these foreign nations, and he knew if I wheel and deal right, it helps to keep me what? R-I-C-H, rich. You know what? Money and power do a lot, don't they? What is the meaning of these words? Now the men did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. It's kind of a weird statement right in the middle of all this, isn't it?
They were listening to his words, watching his actions. They were looking for anything that would point towards him leaning towards clemency.
Okay, what did he just... Well, I'm stuttering. They believed that the kings of Israel were what? Friendly, merciful kings, right? So they go in with that belief, and the minute they go in and plead for the life of the king, they are listening intently for anything they can hear that sounds like he will spare this man's life. What did he just said? He is my brother. Gotcha. Gotcha. And that's what they meant by that. They were listening for every little word, folks. Okay? Barnes makes an interesting statement. He says, by the Oriental law of Dakhel, D-A-K-H-E-L-L, anyone is at any time entitled to put himself under the protection of another, be that of his friend or his greatest enemy. And if the man applied to does not at once reject him, if the slightest forms of friendly speech pass between the two, the bond is complete and must not be broken. Okay? So this was one of the kind of a rules, etiquette of battle. If a king approached another king, if there's any indication that I'm not going to kill you, that nation would jump on that and say, hey, you got to spare his life now. Well, what does he call him? You're my brother. Ah, gotcha. You've got to do what? You've got to spare him. You can't kill him now. Okay? Now, if he had immediately said what? He's my enemy. You tell him don't come here. If he comes here, he will die. That'd been a different story. He could have done that. But the very minute he expressed any affinity for this man, he had to show mercy toward him. And that's the reason for the next statement. And they said, thy brother Ben-Hadad. Hear that? He called him brother. Now they repeat it back to him, don't they? They let him know that we've got you. And the moment he let fall the expression, he is my brother, they caught it up and repeated it, fixing him to it as it were, and preventing his retreat. Now you have to treat him like a what? Like a brother. Man. True or false? Ahab told Ben-Hadad's servants to bring him to him. True. Then he said, go ye, bring him. Wow. True or false? Ben-Hadad came to Ahab and sat with him in his chariot. True. Then Ben-Hadad came forth to meet him, and he caused him to come up and sit in his chariot. What two things did Ben-Hadad promise to Ahab? Number one was what? My daddy took cities from you, and I'll give them back to you. Right? And what's the second thing? My dad came into your towns, and when he won battles, he named streets after himself. Now, I'll let you go to Damascus, that's the capital city of Syria, and you can name some streets after you. Don't we love our name to be in lights? You know? People give big donations to corporations and they put their name on the building, right? You give money to a certain organization and they put a big name and you get it right there on the walkway, right? People love to have their name in lights. And, you know, he's appealing to his what? He's appealing to his ego, is he not? I mean, giving him back some cities and putting his name on some... Whoop-de-doo. You know, you've tried to destroy my nation. But you see, he's appealing to this man's ego. And poor old Ahab has a pretty good ego, does he not? Kind of sad ego, if you ask me. That bell just needs to be taken out. The only time we hear that bell is when it's at the end of class. You know, if we could just not hear it, like we don't between classes, we could just keep on going. True or false? Ahab made a covenant with Ben-Hadad. True. Man. Then Ahab said, I will send thee away with this covenant. Unbelievable. Then another prophet gets involved, doesn't he? What request did one of the sons of the prophet make of his neighbor? Smite me. Man. And a certain man of the sons of the prophet said unto his neighbor in the word of the Lord, smite me, I pray thee. Unbelievable. Now the thing that's interesting is he told him, smite me in the name of what? Of the Lord. Folks, that little phrase, in the name of the Lord, means by the authority of the Lord. Okay? It's kind of like when a police officer says stop in the name of the law, it means stop by the authority of the law given to me. So now, here's a prophet, and the man knows he's a prophet, goes to his neighbor, he says, I need you to smite me, to hit me, to wound me in the name of the Lord. And the man says what? He refused to smite him. Why? Why? He did not believe the Lord had made such a request. When has God ever told somebody just go and smack a prophet? You know, that'd be like me walking up to one of you and saying, hey, just hit me. Oh boy, I am not doing that here, you know. We wouldn't get a refusal probably. Get a little closer, Vic. How about this one? He was a kind man and didn't want to inflict pain on somebody. See, Wes is back here just laughing. Wes said, let me at him. Let me at him. And how about this? He may have thought that he could have been punished by law for such a deed, couldn't he? You hit a prophet. You know, there's no reason. There's nothing that he's done to you. You're just going to hit him. One of these days, I'd like to talk to this man, wouldn't you? But the problem is he's violating what? The word of the Lord, isn't he? That's the problem. What happened to the man because he refused to hit the prophet? Man, unbelievable. A lion shall slay thee, the prophet said. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. You go home this afternoon and you type into Google, okay, lion slaying human being. And you watch that happen. Okay? That is not pretty. You know that? First of all, he's got to chomp you somewhere. Then he's going to start shaking on you. Then he's going to pull limbs off of you. He's going to chow down on your neck to kill you. He's going to eat all your insides. He's going to eat you till he gets you down to the bones, and he may carry the bones off. It's not pretty. Okay, this is a nasty, nasty punishment, is it not? And that's what I'm trying to get across to you, folks. Obedience to the will of God is absolutely essential. Okay? God stresses that in His Word over and over and over and over and over again. You've got to obey. Number 2, obedience to God's will is essential even if we do not understand or agree with what's commanded. And 3, I put down this: God will punish disobedience. I have to go back and look at the reference. Every transgression and every disobedience receive just recompense of reward. I believe it's in Hebrews 10, talking about the old law. Every transgression, every disobedience under the old law suffer just recompense of reward. Let me ask you something. Which covenant is better, the old covenant or the new? Now, if God punished every transgression and disobedience under a covenant founded upon the blood of animals, what do you think He will do to individuals who violate His New Testament covenant founded on the blood of Jesus, of the blood of Christ? It's bad, folks. It's bad. We are living under a covenant that holds more obligation than the old covenant did. You know that? Oh yes, there's mercy and grace there, but there's also wrath and justice of God that's there too. True or false? The prophet made the same request of another man and he complied with the prophet. Yeah, I would have too if I'd have been standing right beside him. Wouldn't you? Come here, boy, I'll smite you. But at least he hit him, didn't he? Who did the prophet wait for, by the way? Ahab the king. What did he put on his face? Ashes. Ashes. When Ahab came by, what did he tell Ahab? I was out in battle, and this man comes by with another man, and he entrusts him to me, and he told me, don't you dare let this man escape. Right? Now, there's a couple of questions that I have, don't you? Because we're not told everything in the story. First question I have is this. Who was the man entrusting the man to this prophet? Okay? Could have been a superior officer, could it not? You know? And the person that he was committing to him could have been one of the enemy forces, couldn't he? So here's a commander telling you, you better watch this man, and don't you dare let this man go. And if you do, there are consequences, right? Well, what happened? He didn't intend to, but the old boy got away. He said, I was busy doing this, I was busy doing that. And I turned around, and guess what? The old boy's gone. Now remember, what did he tell him would happen? You'd either die or what? You have to pay 1 talent of silver. 1 talent of silver. Folks, did anybody look up how much money that is in today's dollars? I looked it up, and it said $46,800 if we did the math based on today's silver prices. Okay, $43,800, somewhere around there is what it would cost. Okay, so he's let the man go, right? And now he goes to Ahab, and what is he hoping from Ahab? That he will be merciful, right? And he tells the story, hoping he's going to be merciful, and what does Ahab said? You chose this, right? This is what you chose. You knew the punishment, and this is what you chose, right? Now, I've always said when I teach punishing children or punishment, and God's the best at this. Folks, anytime you lay down a law, always attach the punishment with it. Okay? If you don't cut the grass, you will not go out this weekend. Okay? If you violate my trust and go to somebody's house and you haven't called me, you will have the keys taken away from you for a week. Whatever. And that way, the person makes the what? Makes the choice, right? I can choose to obey and have my privileges. I can choose to disobey and receive the consequences. But it was my what? It was my choice. Remember, the man told him what? Hold the guy or suffer the consequences. And he told him exactly what they were. And now Ahab says what? You got to suffer the consequences. And that's when the prophet washes the ashes off his face. And he says, not me. This is all about who? This is about you. A man who has come to you, who you should have killed, you have let go and gone into a covenant relationship with you. And guess what? Your life and the people's lives are going to be required. And what's always interesting to me is the very last part of that verse, verse 43. And the king came to his house heavy and displeased and came to Samaria. That little word heavy, listen to Brown, Driver, and Briggs. Stubborn, implacable, rebellious, resentful, sullen. He wasn't sorry one iota. He was just what? Just mad. Just mad at God. Ahab's got a heart problem, doesn't he? And that little word displeased means raging, out of humor, vexed. This is a man who is highly upset that God is going to punish him for letting the king of Syria go. Unbelievable. All righty, we made through 40 questions. Sort of, kind of.